I am in a relationship right now that is kind of making me sad, and I feel in a lot of ways that I'm not getting what I want in it, and that it's not making me happy. And I've been trying to fight it and kind of make it work. And in my mind, I read Ask and It Is Given, and I've been trying to let go and let it flow and just not worry about it. I guess I feel that I don't know if it's necessary to let this relationship go in order to attract something that a relationship I want into my life, or if it's possible to first let go and be able to raise my vibration and then be able to make this relationship work.
Well, you've asked the perfect sequence of questions, because really it is always easier to stay right where you are. Not only is it easier, it is almost required to stay right where you are, in the sense that even if you were to walk away from that relationship, you would take the vibration of it with you. And so walking away from it doesn't change all that much. Walking away from it sort of just leaves you now feeling another problem, which compounds whatever vibration you have going on before. And so we always say, stay where you are and do your best to improve the vibrational relationship between what you want and what you're thinking about. And then what happens is one of two wonderful things happens. Either you are called to the relationship that matches who you are, or the relationship that you are standing in the middle of becomes what you are calling. In other words, in either way you win. The only question that we ever encourage someone to ask themselves, and it speaks right to what you just said: should I just stay where I am and go with the flow of what I really am wanting? And so the question that we put back to you is it easier to go with the flow of what you're wanting as you are in the middle of that relationship? In other words, can you use the power of your mind to do that? Or do the characteristics of that relationship dominate so much that it makes that not possible? And
I feel like in the relationship, I try to focus my mind, but it's like there's all of these thoughts coming at me. And even though I'm determined to think, to do things that make me happy and find joy and stuff, I find that these issues are so strong. It's so hard to just put them down because they go against so much of like what makes me happy, like some of the things that come up. I don't know what to do about that. Like I don't know.
Well, here's what we think is happening with you is, as you're moving through your experience, you are in this state of becoming, and your life has caused you to become something. And we would say this to everyone: your life has caused you to become something more than you have quite let yourself get up to speed with. So in this interim, if you, for other reasons, engage in a relationship, that relationship is always a match to where you are now, not a match to that which you are aspiring to. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So a woman said to us one day, "Will my son find a mate soon?" And we said, "Hopefully not." And she was shocked. She thought that would solve all of his problems. And we said, if he finds a mate now, she'll be unemployed too. She won't like herself either. They'll just bang around in discord together until they break apart. And she said, "Oh, Abraham, that's what's been happening." And now this is much more dramatic than what we're talking about here, but we tell the story to make that point, that you are always in the state of becoming, and you are on this very fast track of understanding who you are. And you, in your experience, have never deviated very far from who you really are. And in your society, let's start at another place. If you put pressure on yourself, and it's very common relative to relationships, to have a relationship and to have one sooner rather than later, to have a relationship and to have one fast, then what happens is the desire for speed causes you to attract something into your experience, but it's something that is not up to speed with who you've really become. And so what it does is it amplifies your discord. Now let's talk about this just a little bit. Every person, no matter who they are, or no matter what subject we're talking about, has lived contrast and have launched rockets of desire and have created a vibrational escrow relative to a subject that is calling them forward. And so everyone has this sort of gap between where they are and what they are aspiring to on just about every subject in the world, because as fast as you close in on it, life causes you to ask for yet more. So there's always this room for expansion, you see. So let's say relative to the subject of relationship. Now let's talk about this. So all through life, long before you're talking about mating, long before you're talking about relationships in that sense, you're having exposure to experiences and you're letting the universe know what you like in terms of relationship. And so this wonderful vibrational escrow relative to your mate has been gathering. And everyone is on their way to it. Few have come really close to being a perfect vibrational match to it, especially very early in life. So then what happens is, in the desire for a lot of reasons, in the desire to have a relationship now, you make speed be the factor, or satisfying the now be the factor. And so you insist that the universe bring you a relationship even though you're not ready for what you've been asking for. And so you attract someone, and by law of attraction, that person is right where you are or very close to where you are. And then as you bang around together, it exaggerates your awareness of where you are in relationship to that which you've become. Now, wasn't that good? Isn't that a clear picture of what happens? So that's why when you say, can I just stay where I am and keep progressing toward where I want to be? The answer to that is yes. And the best relationships that we see are where you are in a relationship and you both realize that you're aspiring to your ever-evolving potential. So you are each closing the gap, and your relationship just continues to get better and better and better and surprise you in deeper and better ways, you see.
Can I ask one more thing? What if it's the case that I know this and I'm working on this, but I feel like I don't really have an influence over like what he feels or what he's thinking? Is it possible for me, with my intention and my desire to move up, will affect the whole relationship as a whole?
It does, because as in your determination to feel better, in your determination to match what you're asking for, as you are, in other words, let's say that your partner has 10 dominant characteristics, and 3 of them already match what you're dreaming for, and 7 of them don't. If you deliberately focus upon those 7 matching characteristics, and not in the attitude of trying to make something happen, but in the attitude that when you focus upon the 3 that feel good, you feel good, and you're going with the flow. And when you focus on the 7 that don't feel good, you don't feel good, and you're going against the flow. So you are deliberately, because you're wanting to feel good, amplifying in your vibration those things that you like most. Now what happens is, you're in a relationship and you're feeling good. You're in a relationship and the whole of you is having this relationship. In other words, because of your choices of what you focus upon, you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on. So your timing is right. The things that you say come at the right time. You are lovely to be with. And you literally, under those conditions, evoke connection from anyone that you're interacting with, whether it is an enemy or a friend or a lover who's an enemy in this moment. In other words, it just gets better and better and better. And the worst case scenario from your point of view would be that you would tune yourself up so well to what you're really wanting that the universe would just cause a coming together of that with you, and at the same time a leaving of the other. What we want you to understand is that when you go with the flow, you never have to break up with anyone. The universe causes the joining and the separating of all things. So just this natural, fluid, moving toward what matches you and away from what doesn't match you is the way it turns out. And the other will move toward what is matching him.
So if breaking up with someone feels like it's painful and a struggle, it's
then
probably
that's
the wrong
going
thing.
against the flow.
Okay.
That's going against the flow. That means that there is, and the thing that we want to say, that means that there is something of value for you there. And the thing that we want to say to you is that very often a relationship, even one that feels sort of right and sort of wrong, but sort of right and really wrong, but sort of right and a little wrong and sort of right, but really wrong. A relationship that feels like that is a relationship that's giving you the stuff that's causing you to shape up your vibrational escrow. In other words, that's how your perfect relationships are formed, is through those experiences where you're able to define how you like to be treated and how you like to be felt about and how you like to treat and how you like to feel about. In other words, this is the way you make your decisions about all things. And we would like to say that from the life experience that you've lived, we can feel a very strong vibrational escrow regarding this already formed for you. In other words, you've given this a lot of attention for a long time. And you are uplifting by nature, and you like to feel good and have been such a joyful person. And the people who know you have known your joy for a very long time, and your joy seems to be muted now. But even that doesn't mean you've chosen the wrong partner. It means you're trying too hard to make this relationship too big of a piece of your life. In other words, just let it be one facet of your life and continue to focus on being the joyful being that you are, and it will fit or it won't. But you just be the joyful being that you are, and if it fits, that's great. And if it doesn't fit, that's great.
Thank you.
Yes. Many, especially early on, believe that they're not whole until they have come together with a partner. And then they come together with a partner and they feel less whole than they felt when they were alone, because their attention to the partner separates them from who they are. And so much that you're looking for in relationships is really looking for your own connection. And when you assign that to someone else who doesn't have a clue what they're doing, sometimes it's easier just to at least mentally get off on your own a little bit.